It's time for another episode of On Top and Hot with your favorite host, John Zidar, and this is the weekend of January 23rd. Now you know what my real passion is. I like to talk to you about hot penny stocks. That's what I do. I'm a day trader. I trade stocks under $5 every day, and I'm constantly looking for stocks that have heat, that have potential to make not only me money, but make us some money. And instead of going through some trading insights this week, I want to talk to you about a hot penny stock because it doesn't seem I've been doing enough of that here recently. So we're going to take a look at ticker KOPN-Kopin Corporation. This stock has been getting a lot of buzz last week, and I was hearing it, but I wasn't keeping up with it. And then somebody requested that I look at it at my live streaming event on Thursday, which we did. I went over the information I could find, but I still didn't cover the catalyst. So I did some more due diligence, and now I know. The catalyst has not been revealed in any of the news presses or filings from the company. You've got to go outside of that arena. You got to go to other companies, other people that write articles about what's going on. And I've done that. So I'm going to share with you the news that the company has and the articles that are out there that show us the hidden catalyst for what this company may be looking at is a huge windfall, a grand catalyst indeed. So Kopin Corporation, she is an American company. She's based out of Maryland. She finished today on Friday at $2.03. She was up a little over 9%. Now, this is a hot penny stock on the major exchange, giving you benefits over those penny stocks on the OTC. First off, all your transactions are free up on the major exchange. Buying and selling shares don't cost you anything. Plus, you get the trade at pre-market, aftermarket. Some of the biggest runners I've ever seen happen in those time periods because there's no halting during those time periods, and you can never trade OTC. Plus, there's a lot more money and a lot more volume up on the major exchange, which is really where you want to be trading. And there's a lot more rules, which is really what we need. Those rules are for the companies to keep them honest. I have lost more money down on the OTC because of the lack of oversight down there. So I appreciate all those rules. So personally, I like trading major exchange penny stocks over the OTC penny stocks for all of those reasons. So let's get a description for the company and we'll work from there. Kopin Corporation is a leading developer and provider of innovative display and application-specific optical solutions, sold as critical components and subassemblies for defense, enterprise, professional, and consumer products. Kopin's portfolio includes micro displays, display modules, eyepiece assemblies, image projection modules, and vehicle-mounted and head-mounted display systems that incorporate ultra-small, high-resolution, active matrix liquid crystal displays. And then a whole bunch of other displays here that you don't want me to read. A variety of optics and low-power ASICs. They work with micro-digitory electronics, and their capability is for metering, engaging through virtual reality, augmented reality, and they got a lot of different products that reach a lot of different sectors, and they have got their foot in the door with some big contracts already that could just explode. And we're going to touch on to that here. So let's start with the news we can see. This is what I talked about when we were looking at this on my live streaming event on Thursday. And this is good news. Going back to December, the company met up with their minimum bid price requirement. Woohoo! They were under $1 too long. If they don't get the price up over $1 in time, they can be thrown down to the OTC or be forced to do a reverse stock split. Either way, the investors aren't happy. They fixed that. We don't have that problem anymore. Current price is over $2, so we're doing good. Now, we got 3 pieces of news here that all came out this month on the 14th, the 15th, and the 21st. Now, I want to take a look at these 2 here because they've got some good information. There's not a lot to read in this one, but I'll headline it for us. Kopin is to showcase newly advanced near-to-eye microdisplays and application-specific optical solutions at the AR/VR/MR 2025 show. So they've got these super duper tiny lenses that go inside glasses so that you can see huge pictures on these very tiny things. That is one of the things that they're showing off. Then we've got two other pieces of news here. I want to dive into each one of these. Kopin receives additional $2 million follow-on microdisplay order in support of rotary fixed-wing pilot helmet mounted displays. Today, the company announced that it has been awarded a $2 million follow-on production order for its AMLCD Billion Microdisplay for rotary and fixed-wing pilot helmet-mounted displays. Kopin's full-color Billion display is used in a pilot's helmet-mounted display system and provides superior situational awareness and survivability in both day and night conditions. The follow-on purchase order is part of an ongoing multi-year program effort and highlights Kopin's success in producing highly complex microdisplays for mission-critical applications. Our displays and application-specific eyepieces are used in a wide range of demanding applications, including pilot helmets, armored vehicle targeting systems, and soldier-centric thermal weapon systems. And the last piece of news over here. Oh, I lost all my highlights. Let's see if I can remember what I'm reading. Kopin and Wilcox to demonstrate day and nighttime readable visual augmentation solutions for warfighters at SHOT Show 2025 in first public reveal. The company today announced that DVAS, which stands for Daytime Visual Augmentation System, and Darkwave will be demonstrated for the first time publicly at the SHOT Show 2025. Now this is very, very interesting. We are coming a long ways. DVAS is a daytime readable see-through heads-up display module developed in collaboration with Wilcox Industries and is used with their cutting-edge Fusion Claw head-borne information system. The Fusion Claw, the brain, is set to revolutionize the battlefield with its advanced modular technology platform, seamlessly integrating night vision, communications equipment, multispectral identification, friend or foe. You can just look at somebody and it'll tell you if that's someone you should be shooting or not. AI-informed power prioritization, multispectral forward illuminization. They're talking about making nighttime look like daytime. Mission recording and day and night heads-up display. Now, also in collaboration with Wilcox and debuting at the SHOT Show will be Darkwave. This is great, folks. Darkwave solves the problem seen in current augmented reality night vision goggle accessories. Darkwave is intended to replace that ugly monochrome green only AR symbology and low resolution thermal overlay images with full color, tube safe situational awareness. Folks, they are being able to look at a nighttime image, put fake daylight onto it, and then overlay images on the people, the cars, the buildings, so that they look like real people, real buildings in the daylight. Unbelievable. They've got that technology and they are revealing it right now. So that's all the news they shared with us, which is really good news. But what else did I find when I left OTC and started using Google? Well, first off, jumping over to their website is really how I got my heads up. They list a whole bunch of news over here, and none of this news is over there at OTC because none of this is their company news. They're not PRs, press releases. These are articles written by other organizations out there, and I followed a few of them. So the first one I want to share with you here is to let you know that it was back in June of last year, Kopin secured contract for U.S. Army missile program, boosting its stock price. Yeah, people got excited. They got a Department of Defense contract. And that's really all they tell us right here. But you see, they've got their foot in the door with the U.S. Army last year. The next piece of news comes from October of last year. $22 billion Microsoft deal with the U.S. Army could be in jeopardy unless the tech giant can get the price of its militarized HoloLens to be substantially less than $80,000 per unit. Microsoft got a $22 billion deal with them. Every unit they're charging $80,000. The units cost them actually closer to $45,000, but they say there's maintenance fees, there's follow-ups on programming and all that, so they're charging a full-blown $80,000. So this is up in the air right now because as far as they're concerned, that is way too much money. The next article comes to us January 22nd of this year. Army kickstarts possible recompete of Microsoft's $22 billion IVAS production deal. Basically, what we're talking about here is an RIF, request for more information, RFI, request for more information. They're taking bids. They're taking contracts. So why would we be thinking that Kopin has a chance here? Well, why wouldn't they? One, they've already got a foot in the door, and others realize their capabilities as well. Here's an article that went out looking for who would probably be bidding up against Microsoft. Well, you've got your giants, Apple, Meta, Google, and who do we have in the background? Kopin. Kopin is in the running, folks. Now, the big difference here is that these three up here are titans. They're mega giants. They got all the money in the world, and that's where we are weak in Kopin. Not only has she not got a lot of money on the books, but she has a heavy cash burn right now. So I'm not real sure that the Army would be worried about that. They're not going to be doing fundamentals. They're not investing in the company. They're investing in the hardware. They're investing in the technology. And if this company has working technology that they can bring in and underbid everybody else, why wouldn't the government go with them? And think about the revenues. It may be a $22 billion contract with Microsoft, but if this company can underbid them, it may be down to $15 billion. A $15 billion contract with the Department of Defense would be okay. A $1 billion contract with them would be okay. So this is huge news. I did dive into their filings, and I lost my highlights here as well. All right, I remember what I was looking at here. This is their most recent financial. I found some key pieces of information I thought very interesting. First off, I discovered that the company was sued, and last year in April, a decision was brought down by the courts. They found for Blue Radios. Blue Radios sued the company, and the courts gave Blue Radios virtually $25 million. That's what this company owes. Kopin owes Blue Radio $25 million from that judgment. They say the company is currently considering an appeal. I don't know any more beyond that fact. Let's see here. The other piece of information was they just put some more stock on the market. They needed money. That was their problem, right? They had low cash on the books and high cash burn. So they just did a public offering of 38 million shares, and they got themselves $50 million. So they're not hurting right now. They tell us after that public offering, they will add that 38 million to 168 million. So that's what they tell us the share structure is right now as of September 28th, 2024. For some reason, the OTC has it marked down as 158 million. In either case, we are right around 200 million shares now in the outstanding share count. So that takes care of all the information I have for you folks. There's your catalyst. The company is in the running for a multi-billion dollar contract with the Army. What was the relative volume around the company today? Pretty explosive. She's gone from 5.5 million shares a day as an average every day for the last 30 days to over, well, let's call it 25 million. So Friday, she did virtually 4 to 5 times her normal volume, which is a pretty big kick up. Share structure for the company, as I said, they listed 158 million. They told us it was 168 million. You got to add 38 million to that. That would take you to 206 million. So that's about where we're at. I have no clue what the float is. I don't know what the insiders own. So all I can say is that our float can't be any higher than the outstanding share count. So it won't be any higher than 158 million and could be considerably less. Market cap for the company, we're currently at $322 million. Taking a look at the financials. Is the company making any money? Yes, they are. Over the last 4 years, they've been doing between $40 and $48 million. We know it's millions because we got to add 3 zeros to any of the numbers on any of the charts we're looking at here. And they've been pulling in pretty regular profits between 15 and 20 million. And right now we are at about 15.5 million for 40 million revenue. So we're doing better than 33%. Quarterly reports, we get any? We do. They're actually growing right now. A year ago, we were at 10.5 million. We dipped a little, and then we've been on an upsurge going from 10 to 12 to 13.3 million, and our profits are growing pretty good right now, moving at a nice clip. When they were only doing 12.3 million, they had 3.6 in profit. Look at that big jump. For just an extra million, they got themselves a lot more profit there percentage-wise. Taking a look at the balance sheet. Cash and cash equivalents, I think of that as the bank. We got about 15.5 million in the bank. Total assets, all the good stuff, about 70.5 million. Total liabilities, all the bad stuff, 48 million. So we have got leftover goodies that we, the investors, get to keep. 22, call it $23 million in stockholder equity. That's for us. So they are making revenues. They are making profits. We do have stockholder equity. Fundamentals are all in the black. All looking pretty decent to me. Now, we've already looked at the disclosures, but let's just jump in there to make sure. Here's an 8K. That's a material change. These are real quick and easy to dive into. You just dive up to that line. If you see that, you should be reading it. This says that they have that agreement for $50 million, which I was already talking to you about. This here, the 424, is about those shares. That's always what a 424 is about. Then we've got a whole bunch of Form 4s. Now, those could be good news. They could be bad news. Form 4s are filed whenever the insiders, the management, the partners, buy shares of the company stock or sell them. But they can get them in a lot of other ways as well. So you don't know until you jump in. Open up a Form 4 and just go straight to the center. Boink. That code right there tells you. If it's a P, it's a purchase. If it's an S, it's a sale. If it's anything else, we don't care. And if you do want to know, they'll normally give you some information right down here and explanations of responses. Restricted stock. That's what we're talking about here. And I can see by looking at the dates here, half of those are restricted. And I've already looked. The other half have to do with paying taxes. They just sell shares and they use that money to pay their taxes rather than going into their own pockets. So we don't have any purchases. We don't have any sales here. We don't have any filings that we need to be concerned about that we haven't already heard about in the news. So the big deal here is that Kopin has got technology that is already being used probably by the Army. They've got their foot in the door. They've got technology that the whole world is turning towards right now. Grand technology built in and becoming components of other equipment. I think they're in the running, folks, and I think they can probably come in cheaper than these big boys. So there is a lot riding around this right now, but we haven't heard anything official. It's all speculation. And what do they say? Buy on the rumor, sell on the news. Now, that doesn't mean put your house on it, folks. When you're buying on speculation, the first thing you do is you don't buy everything at once. You buy some. Figure out how much you're probably going to invest, how much you're willing to invest, and say, I'll buy 25% right now. Because you don't know what's going to happen, and the price could drop hard, and you could average down there and get a much better price. And if you haven't bought everything, that's going to be an opportunity. You're going to like seeing it fall. But if you buy everything right now at the very start and she falls hard, you're going to hate life that day, and you're going to hate it all the time she's climbing. So it's just smarter to buy some and wait to see what happens. And if she starts to rip, get the rest of what you want. Don't worry about paying more for it. If she's climbing, you're making a profit on everything you bought. All right. With that in mind, let's go take a look at this chart. Well, howdy-ho, good neighbor. Welcome to my free trading platform. This is Think or Swim, where I have all my fun. Shucks. We're looking at ticker KOPN. This is Kopin Corporation. Got her opened up to a 1-day, 1-year chart. It was virtually a year ago. We had our 52-week high of $2.82. That was back in February. We had our 52-week low hit in September. In between the two, we had a hard, abrupt fall going from $2.66 down to 75 cents. Hard and fast. And once she hit down here, she stayed down here. She did cross over these strong MAs, getting her quite excited, pushing up to the 200, falling back to the 50. She rode that for almost 2 months. Then she did a drop and plop to the 200 haul. She rode that for 2 months. Then when she got up on top of the 50 right here, we were in an atypical breakout, weren't we? We got the 200-day MA falling. We got our 200 haul underneath climbing. That's the 200 squeeze right there. And in between the two, we've got our 50-day. And once the price got on top of the 50-day, you see the bars get big. That's when the ignition happened. Everything was happening at the right time. She ignited going to and through the 200. Bouncing off of that 200, jumping onto our 9-day escalator and starting to climb. Falls back down, as all stocks do on the charts, to her strong MAs, the 200 haul and the 50. Together, they're very strong. Bouncing off of that a couple times, and look at her launch, folks. She has taken off, going here from $1.21 up to, well, it's almost a whole dollar jump there, $2.19. We have crossed our 200 MA. We are in a full-fledged breakout. All of our other MAs have crossed it as well. They're all climbing, and right now, at this very moment, folks, that 200-day MA on our yearly chart has gone flat. And look at all of our oscillators. You could not ask for anything better. Everything is climbing. Our ADX, our green line, is on the top, which tells me that our uptrend is dominant. And the yellow line, the closer it is to the top, tells me how strong that uptrend is. This is looking mighty pretty. Look at our MACD. Holy cow. That's launching to the moon. Look at the size of these green bars, how fast they're getting big. Back here, they were growing slow. That is a big, fast grow. And look at our RSI. We are in the overbought. Don't let that scare you. That's a good thing if you're trading for quick trades. Let's come on down to our 6-month, 4-hour view. We're in a solid uptrend now. We changed trends right here in the middle. Look, down trend there, up trend there. So on our 4-hour, we have changed trends, hitting that low bubble. She worked her way across that 200 and just systematically laid on that 50-day MA, that yellow one there. She's bouncing on it all the way up. She lost her footing here, falling all the way to the 200 and bouncing hard, making up all that fall, right? She came back up and zoomed way past that. Right now, she looks like she's trying to form some sort of cup and handle. She's come down, back up, and she's fallen part way. Is she going to zoom up now? Volume, it's a little thin right now. Not crazy about that, but it's not this thin. It's thicker than that, but not as thick as the days before. Oscillators are looking good, though. Our PPO is climbing. Our MACD is climbing. Our RSI is as close to the overbought as you're going to get. And look at our ADX. The green and the yellow line are both together up above the red by a long margin. Still looking strong to me. Let's come on down to our 20-day, 1-hour view. Climbing ever so gently, minding her own business. Took this drop down to that low. She was down there for over a business week. But look where she's sitting. Sitting firmly on that 200 haul. 200 haul changes colors, telling me it's now climbing. What happened when it changed? She bounced and jumped up onto the 50. The 200's falling. She's on top of the 50. The 200 haul is up and climbing. We have ignition. Boom! She's off and running, going from that 121 to 220 right there. Coming back down only to the 20. She dipped underneath it, being caught by this resistance support right there. Jumped again, way back up. Pulled back. Oh, that wick. That's not a bad wick, folks. Let me tell you about this wick. That wick right there is what I like to call a pillar. The full bar. There's two parts to this. You got the wicks and you got the solid bar. The solid bar is sitting on the 9-day. Everything is on the 9-day. So it's on the 9-day. The wick left the 9-day, went through the 20-day, went through a support. Now that really don't matter there, but it did go through an MA. Anytime you see that, think of it as a drill. going down into the ground, deep, deep, deep. And the more MAs it goes through, the more levels of dirt, clay, rock, sediment, all this stuff. This tells me if it goes through other MAs, this reassures me, it's a signal that this is going to push up. I think that's going to push up right now. That's my best call. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 on the 1 hour chart. Oscillators, our PPO, it's pretty flat. Our MACD is not exactly warm. It says there's more of a down pressure than an up pressure. Our MACD, it's trying to come up, just like our RSI is trying to come up. So half the oscillators are for me, half the oscillators are against me. Take a look at our 5-day, 15-minute. Riding super duper flat on that 200. Had a crouch before a pounce, right? She went lower than where she was, ended up higher than where she was. I look for these a lot. Normally after the pounce, you see some activity. The cat's out of the box, it's woke up, it's ready to play. Ran across the table and boink, it took off here. Now, I looked at this on Thursday, and we had seen the high bubble here, which is why I drew that line there. That was hitting the high bubble. And I also drew a line on the 9-day, which I think was down here at the end of the day. I can't remember. But the point is that the high was too far from the 9. So we were expecting a pullback. That's what I told everybody on Thursday. This is way, way high right now. The price has to come down. It's not an ego. It does not fly. It's a kangaroo. It bounces. So it has to come down to an MA. And we hope it's the 9. If the kangaroo's light, it'll just hit the 9. Well, she did come back down. She came down and she's bouncing across here. Right across the lower one I put in. She came down, hit it, bounced up, came up, and now she's on her climb. Now I think she's ready. She has fallen to her 50-day MA. Our 200 is right there. She's climbing on top of the 200 haul right now. The 20 is getting up underneath her butt. The 200 is already climbing. I am liking the way the chart is looking. Now let me see what our MAs, our oscillators look like. Let me pull this up. That's pretty tight there. Yes, we have a recovery. You can see that is turning up right now, ready to cross over. Looking at our MACD, our green line is fighting to push up. We see that as recovery there. Looking at our MACD, again, you see the cup and she's bowled up and she's coming up right now. You can see we've already got one green bar there. And looking at our RSI, whoo! I don't like to see my RSI any cooler than 55. We are at 54 right now. So things are just starting to warm up on the RSI. I think she's ready to pop. I think she came in here, she went through her channel, she's hit her head on the ceiling. Now all the MAs are at the high part. I think she's going to break this and start to climb, probably get above this 2.2. Now, what do we think's going to happen if they get a contract? Well, folks, the first thing we got to figure out is when is this going to happen? This is probably going to be a long hold. It's going to be an indefinite swing hold because we don't have any dates. We don't know. We know that Q1, Q2 is what I was reading, is when the Army is looking to get all of the requested information. They're getting their bids. We don't know how long it's going to take them to make a decision. It may not be until 2026, honestly. But that doesn't mean that when a piece of news comes out referring to the company in any way, shape, or form, this thing couldn't just rip. It couldn't get a catapult launch. So it's not about hanging around the whole time. You can get into a stock like Netflix when it's really cheap, and now it's a titan on the market. Well, no one said you had to stay into it from point A to point B. You could have gotten in and gotten out with half of your shares over and over again, making money on those days when it ripped, just went to the moon. You knew it was going to come back down because that's what kangaroos do. They always come down. You could have sold half of it when it was up there. When it came back down, you could have bought more. More because you have more money now. So you could have increased your holdings just by selling some every time it has a strange, weird bounce. If it goes up strange, sell something. When it comes back down, you'll be able to buy more. You'll be happy with that strategy, trust me. So Kopin could be one of those sort of stocks. You could get some huge bounces until 2026 when they make their decision. And then if it comes through, oh my God. You know, the company's going to go from making just this much money to making that much money. They're going to be a full-blown billionaire company. So yeah, For the long hold, there could be a lot of speculation here. There could be a lot of jumps between now and then. So Kopin does belong on your watch list, and you may want to get yourself a starter position. I'm still weighing it up. I haven't actually decided yet, but I am going to put it on my watch list. I think I'll probably wait until I see more definitive news. That's me, because I don't like to tie my money up for too long. I like to get in and get out as fast as I can. There you go, folks. That is my opinion, and that is the facts for KOPN. That is what they are telling us about themselves, and that is what others are saying about them. I do believe I've nailed it this time for what the catalyst is supposed to be. Hopefully that helps you. Remember, folks, the more you know, the more you're going to grow. See you, folks.